Hello, so here's another video in my series A Book to Inspire You, and this one is one of the classics of the last century, a sci-fi book by Ray Bradbury called Fahrenheit 451. And as you may know, that is the temperature at which paper catches fire. Okay, so anyway, this is a very short book. It's probably one of the shortest novels to become like an international bestseller. He wrote it in only 9 days, and he gave an interesting interview a few years back, which you'll find linked in the details underneath the video. You can go and watch the interview yourself. But it's a very inspiring book for me in that it speaks to our rights, our ability to find information and decide for ourselves about what we think is correct, what we think is true. And in the book, reading has been banned. People are not allowed to read, but the government send teams of firefighters to go and put out get rid of anyone that's reading books and to burn the books that they find. So I won't tell you too much more about it, but it's a very interesting book in the concept about preventing people from thinking for themselves by preventing them from reading, preventing them from acquiring a knowledge. Is quite pertinent. And there were 2 films made, one in 1966 and another version in 2018. And you can see very clearly the dumbing down of people, the use of sort of video screens and sort of very trivial kind of media. And I think in a later version you've got emojis featuring quite strongly, because of course no one can read or write anymore. So people have to use emojis instead to convey their feelings and thoughts. So, I mean, this was written a long time ago, but it has a lot of things in it that are relevant to this time we live in now. Which, I mean, I think we are very much in a time where people are being dumbed down, where people are encouraged not to think for themselves, but to just accept the official line. You've got companies like Facebook telling people that, they're exposed to extremist content, that the information they've seen is false, and they're actually putting basically false information from their fact checkers, saying that information that actually is true is false, or there may be some very minor little factual error in something somebody said, and they'll say the entire thing is false, even though there may be just one small mistake. And this is all politically motivated, obviously. They have an agenda that they want to push, and it's basically like Fahrenheit 451 in the fact that you've got a huge level of control of how people think and what they are allowed to communicate to each other. Of course, in the story, that's the government that's doing this. In this current time, it's partially the government, but to a very large extent, it's big tech corporations like Google that owns YouTube. There's also obviously Facebook and TikTok and Twitter and maybe other platforms too, all of whom seem to think it's perfectly okay for them to censor people and try to control the thoughts and opinions of the people that use their platform. And to my mind, that's just not acceptable. If you believe in a free and democratic society, then people need to be allowed to form their own opinions without being brainwashed, without being told what they can and can't say and what they're allowed to think. So, if you don't know this book, I highly recommend it. It's a very, very insightful, interesting and stimulating book, but it's actually very short, so it won't take you very long to read it. And I'd also recommend both films. I've got the original one on DVD, and I've also seen the 2018 remake, which I don't think it was a big hit, but I was pleasantly surprised by how good it was. It was actually really very good. A slightly different take from the original film, but nonetheless very good and very interesting to watch. And I suppose the fact that it was an intelligent film is probably why it didn't do very well. It wasn't very sensationalist or action-based. It was a lot more thoughtful than many films are today, and of course those kind of films tend not to do very well at the box office anymore, unfortunately. Anyway, that's all I've got to say for today, so thank you very much for listening. Hope you enjoyed it, and feel free to click like or subscribe if you enjoyed what I've had to say. Thank you. Bye bye.